everybody. I'd like to welcome you again for another episode. This is our real estate deal. I am Gems and I'll be your host for today. Now, again, everyone, this program is mainly to inspire, share, and impart. Inspire aspiring individuals to venture wholesaling, share experiences, and to impart knowledge and power to those young investors willing to take the chance and who's willing to take a shot in wholesaling. And now we have here someone new, someone amazing, someone who dreamed big. Everybody, let us welcome Ricco Ramos. Hi, Rico. How are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going? Good afternoon. Thanks for reaching out and having me.
Alrighty. Thank you so much as well, Rico. It's our pleasure. So yeah, before anything else, Rico, can you introduce yourself to us? Can you give us a little background of where you're from, what you've been doing, so on and so forth?
Yeah, definitely. So, like you said, my name is Rico Ramos. I'm actually originally from the Midwest, from a town called Rochelle. So I grew up in Rochelle, but I'm now located in Houston, Texas, which is this is where I'm doing my wholesaling.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been entrepreneurial. It kind of started out my first kind of entrepreneurial journey, if you will. I was DJing. So I
Mm,
started my
DJ.
entrepreneurial journey through MySpace. I made a little page and everything, and had a little name and started kind of doing that, and selling my brand and stuff like that. So I've always had this entrepreneurial thing. But recently, when I moved to Houston, Texas, I started hearing about wholesaling. So I wanted to look into it, and started learning a little bit on YouTube and things like that, and here we are.
So you're always a businessman. Are you still doing that right now while simultaneously doing wholesaling as well?
No, no. I did it for
Uh,
a long time, but now I'm just wholesaling now. So now I'm just
all right,
primarily
full
doing
time.
real estate. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh, I see. So now let's talk about the deal you first closed, and can you
yeah,
like walk us through where did you acquire it? How was your relationship with the seller? Like the process, how you acquired the property.
definitely. So, as most of us, we don't have a lot of capital starting out, right? So we have to kind of rely on our brains and our heart. You know what I mean? So what I did was I went out there, I started driving for dollars, just driving neighborhoods looking for distressed properties. I would take pictures of them, and then what I would do is I would, Google their I'm sorry, Google their address, and then I used a skip tracing site that was free. And this is before I knew what skip tracing was, but
Uh-huh.
on a scale, on a mass scale. But I used a free website called Fast People Search. So I put the address in there, and then I looked for the owner's name, and then I kind of found some numbers that way. And at the time, I was actually hand dialing to cold call. I was hand dialing from my phone. So this is before I knew what dialers were and all that kind of thing. This is like really early on. So what I did was I drove for dollars. I found this property. It had some broken blinds in the front. So I was like, huh, that's a sign of distress, right? I mean, if someone has broken blinds, that's pretty cheap to fix. And then it kind of had some like the trees and the bushes were kind of grown over, you know? So it just kind of had a couple signs of distress. So, you know what, I'm gonna try this one. So, and this is one of many, obviously, but we're talking about the first deal. So I looked up the address on local public records, found the owner. I skip traced it with that website, Fast People Search, and then I just called and said, "Hey, I'm a local investor. You're looking to sell?" And I built some good rapport. I had to really follow up with that one, so it wasn't something that closed right away. But eventually, she came back around, called me, and said, "I'm ready to sell." And I went over there. I was, I was really nervous because, at this time, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm still trying to learn everything. So went over there, did the appointment, met her in person, and started doing some negotiating on the spot. And what happened was, I had my ARV and MAO and all that kind of thing, and I was trying to anchor low so I could, get a good offer on it. And she said she was going to think about it, and then it was crazy because at like 2 in the morning, it was like 2 or 2:30 in the morning. She
Uh-huh.
sends me a text, and it's just with the price.
Oh,
So I
okay.
woke up like at I don't know, for some reason I got up like at 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and then I look at a text. I was like, oh wow, the seller texted me, and she texted me with the number. That was it.
Just the number.
So
Right.
yeah, just the number, and I was like, And before she could change her mind, I was like, done, right? So I got the verbal on it.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of crazy how that happened. I don't know if she was up thinking about it or what happened, but that's kind of how I verbally got the agreement with that one.
Mhm.
And then I called her the next day, and we started working on the agreement, sent it out, locked it up, and she needed some time to get her things out, and that was it. That was how I got the agreement. And then from there, it was actually pretty easy to sell the deal off, to wholesale it, because what I did was I went on Facebook, I put it in a group, I put it in there like at, I don't know, I want to say around 8 a.m. And before noon, I already had it assigned.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
fast. You know,
it was crazy. Yeah, it was really fast.
how long was that? Was it in Texas as well?
The first deal, yes, it was in Houston, Texas. Yep.
Oh, okay. And let's talk about the title company. How did you find your title company, and were they easy to work with?
Yeah, so a while back, what I did is just like we cold call sellers, I did the same thing with title companies. So I just made a list of title companies that were local. I tried to Google investor friendly title companies,
Mm-hmm.
and I just called them. I called them and said, hey, I'm an investor. Do you guys work with investors? Are you familiar with assignment of contracts and things like that? I just called a few of them. Some of them said, no, we don't do that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then some of them said, yes, we can do that. So I just cold called a few of them. That was a while back, actually. Just kind of like when I was first starting, trying to get all the pieces together. But then obviously when it came time, when I had an agreement that I was pretty confident I could wholesale it, then it got more serious to find an actual title company, right? And actually the title company I found, kind of a funny story. There's local investors here in Houston. They have like a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So one time this guy was walking out and he's like, yeah, he had one of those selfie videos and he was like, yeah, I just closed a deal. And I was kind of like looking in the background to see like where did he close that deal at? Because obviously if he's an investor, he's closing there. That means
Uh-huh.
that they're investor friendly, right? So I Googled it and that's how I actually found the specific title company. I called
Oh,
them and said, hey, do you guys work with assignment of contracts, all that kind of thing? So yeah, yeah, no problem. And they were real nice about it. Obviously, I was new, so it was important to be with someone who be with a title company that will understand. I'm new to this, try to keep that in mind. So and actually still work with them to this day. So it was pretty easy process. I mean, as long as you have
yeah,
the agreement, you send it over, you're in communications, they take care of the closing.
yeah. You're actually, you know, hearing you hearing from you, you're actually blessed with your first deal, and really quite
Yeah.
impressed for that. And how long did it take you to like close your first deal from acquisition to disposition? How long did it take?
From So from acquisition to disposition, I would say somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, for
Yeah,
oh.
something like that. Because what happened was I had it under contract, and then she needed some time to get her things out and stuff like that. And I opened title. I kind of wanted to see, is there any liens on here? Are we gonna have any issues? And then from there, when I was pretty confident we can get it done, what I did was I put it on Facebook, and like I said, I had it assigned within hours of putting it on Facebook, and then we closed, I want to say a couple of weeks later, something like
Mm,
that.
okay.
Yeah. So it was no more than 6 weeks for sure, but it was somewhere between from acquisitions to dispositions, it was somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. But I have a story though. It's very
Yeah.
important because a
Okay.
lot of times people get on YouTube and they say, go out there, drive for dollars, make a cold call, and make 10 grand in your first 30 days or make 10 grand in 2 weeks, right? And
Mm-hmm.
while that's maybe it is possible for some people, for me, it wasn't like that. So from the moment that I got really, really serious about I'm gonna go all in on this, it was somewhere around February 2021. I was like, you know what? I'm doing I had heard about it before. I kind of dibbled and dabbled, but I didn't take it too serious. I was still kind of questioning this wholesaling real estate thing. But when I said, you know what, I'm gonna go full in, it was about February 2021, and it wasn't until summer 2022 where I actually monetized.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me about 16 months from the moment I said I'm going to take this very serious.
Mhm.
It took me about 16 months to actually monetize. So, it doesn't happen for everybody right away, but the important thing is eventually you do get there. And, I've done several deals since, but I think that's an important detail because sometimes people get discouraged and I see a lot of people asking, how long did it take to get your first deal? They're getting discouraged. Sellers are telling them, numbers that are way too high and things like that. They're locking up contracts too high. They're not able to dispo them. But, you just got to stick with it. Not everybody is able to get their first deal that quickly. Personally, I don't feel like it's that realistic to get it that quick.
Mhm.
But, just stick with it and you'll get the deal.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's having commitment and like a change in mindset that made things possible for your first deal. And you're quite right about that. Being positive about it, being committed to what to your goal. It's really a key factor for you to have a deal done, and you actually did that one. So the first time you closed your deal, was it like a team effort? Do you have someone behind you, or did you did all on your own?
It was all on my own. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't do any classes, nothing like that. I'm a high
Mm-hmm.
believer in self-education,
Mm-hmm.
especially with everything that's out there now. Like, look, we're doing this, right? So
Yeah.
someone can watch this, maybe they can get some tips from it. But I believe in self-education, YouTube, books, whatever it takes, teach yourself. I think that's the best way. And then also through trial and error. Because what happens is you're going to learn something, you're going to want to go apply it. And, you might fall on your face, but like I said, just keep going. Eventually you'll learn from that mistake and get better. So yeah, I didn't have a huge team behind me. It was just me. So what I did was I was cold calling on my phone. I was driving for dollars, just building up my driving for dollars list, calling, trying to get sellers on the phone to see if they're selling. And that's how I did my first deal.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm just curious, how much did you earn for your first deal, for your first check?
So the first assignment fee, the first check was 12,500.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, Rico, have you considered like virtual wholesaling, or I mean, establishing your own company LLC and do a virtual wholesaling yourself? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so right now I'm primarily focused on Houston, Texas, just because this is where I live and it's in my backyard, and I'm still in the learning process. But eventually, most likely later this year, I'll probably break into another market,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, I do have a team, I do have a company now. So,
I
we're kind of
see. Awesome.
yeah heading in the direction. What I did was when I made a deal, I would invest it right back in the business. Make another deal, invest it right back in.
Oh, okay. That's a businessman mindset. You really are an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. So, now that so far, what have you learned in real estate that might help other people, those who are still starting, or those who wanted to venture real estate, especially wholesaling?
Yeah, I mean, what I learned is it's tough. It's very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really have the right mindset. It's incredibly challenging. You have to educate yourself every day as much as you can. When I'm still educating myself, don't get me wrong, but in the beginning, we're talking about the beginning, I would listen to YouTube, I would listen to podcasts. If I'm in the car, I'm listening about wholesaling. I'm in the shower, I'm listening about wholesaling. Before bed, I'm watching something about wholesaling. Waking up in the morning, I'm looking at wholesaling stuff. So I would recommend just, you know, becoming almost obsessed with real estate. We're talking about wholesaling real estate and just learning as much as you can and just take action. You know, Another thing I see a lot is people are worried about the contracts, right? I get a lot of questions on Facebook. People will message me like, or they'll comment on something I post and say, "What contract do you use?" Right? I think these little details are just keeping you from what's really important, and that's finding a deal, right? The important thing is finding a deal. Nobody ever made money in real estate by having the perfect contract. Like I drew up this
Mm-hmm.
contract and I made money. It's not going to happen, right? People make money because they find good deals. So I think, what I learned is, don't sweat the details. It's not going to be perfect. Go out there, learn, make mistakes, ask questions, network, something I did as well. And that's how you're going to get your first deal. But nothing's going to be perfect. The contracts are probably not going to be 100% right. You might have picked the wrong title company. I've locked up several contracts trying to get my first deal, and looking back, I should have never locked that contract up. Either it
Mm-hmm.
was a bad location, the ARV wasn't right, whatever the case may be. So my biggest piece of advice is educate yourself and take action.
Okay, awesome. And also, focus on what really matters, and that's getting a deal. That's get
E- Exactly,
exactly
exactly. Focus on finding a deal. Every action, especially in the beginning, should be
consistent.
towards the first deal.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry about, what's my business company name going to be?
Uh-huh.
What's the contract have to say? All these different things. Just go get the first deal. Go find a property, try to get it under contract. That's the main thing. And the thing is too, if you're able to find a property, and let's say you don't know anything about contracts, if you're able to find a property and the seller agrees to a discounted price and you have a verbal agreement, all you have to do is, go on Facebook or ask somebody and say, hey, I have this property. I got a verbal agreement for X amount. I don't know how to draw this up. Can you help me? I'm pretty sure, somebody will help with that. Right.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and including myself, if somebody contacted me and said, hey, actually, I have sent agreements out. Sometimes people contact me and they say, hey, what agreement do you use? This and that. Here's what I use. Here it is. I got no problem helping people. So the important thing is find the deal and then everything else will kind of fall into place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. That's a good advice. So, Rico, thank you so much. You've been very helpful. We really appreciate your time. It's our pleasure to talk with you. And as
Yeah.
to what my mentor used to say to me, Rico, you're really a wholesale astronaut, someone who does not only aim for the star, but who wanted to land on the moon. And wish you good luck in all your future endeavors. And also, Rico, if anyone wanted to reach you, where can they contact you? Do you have a website with you? Your email address, so on and so forth,
Yeah,
etc.
so actually that's one of the things I'm looking to work on this year. I don't have a lot of online presence.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this I think this is making me want to work on that and stop procrastinating. But my Instagram is new, so you can look me up at Rico Buys Houses, RICCO Buys Houses. Or send me an email, rico@ricoramos.com. If anyone needs help, tips for the first deal, I'm happy to help.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, everyone. Also, to those who wanted to reach out to Rico, I'll post his link and his bio. Posted will be posted below the description. And also, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. Thank you again, everyone. This is Gems telling you have a great day. Goodbye.